Has there ever been a moment in your life where you're just going about your day and then you remember something? Like something from your childhood that you don't know the name of, but you remember a glimpse of it? Well, if you're anything like me, you have to find out whatever it is you're thinking of, or else it'll drive you crazy for the rest of the day. Recently, this happened to me. As some of you know through the song choices in these videos, I was a PlayStation kid growing up. I constantly use songs from the PS3 exclusive Little Big Planet because they give me this warm feeling and they're catchy background songs. However, the memory that popped into my head was from a different PlayStation exclusive. It was from a really niche MMO game that was out for the PS3, PlayStation Home. PlayStation Home was a weird addition to the PS3 that was similar to real-world sim games like Second Life or VR Chat. There were places to go, you could customize your character, enter hubs where there would be other people, you could play mini-games, and go to the movies. Movies? Yes, the movies. There was actually a theater in the virtual world that played game trailers, movie trailers, and occasionally these strange TV shows. Somewhere, deep in the back of my mind, I remembered one of these shows. I didn't know its name, but I knew it was this very amateur-looking show that must have been made by a student filmmaker. I remember the show had college kids playing PS3 games and getting trophies. And that's all I remembered about it. And for whatever reason, I wanted to watch the show again. It was in such a deep place in my mind, I just needed the reassurance that it was real. So, I was looking up phrases like PlayStation home theater shows, thinking I would find something, but my efforts yielded no results. I could barely find any videos on YouTube of people in the theaters, let alone in 2011. And I assume 2011 because that was the peak of my PS3 years, but it really could have been any time from 2009 to 2013. Plus, PlayStation Home had been discontinued for 6 years now, which only exacerbated problems. I was googling all kinds of different phrases and sifted through all kinds of videos and found no results. And when I say no results, I mean 0 results. I was almost convinced that I had dreamt up this whole concept. I went on Reddit, looked on YouTube, and literally found nothing. I was at a loss, and I didn't give up there. One thing I did find was that the PlayStation Home community was very cult-like and continued to exist to this day. This blew my mind when I realized it. Remember, this game was a weird addition to the PS3, and really only existed for about 5 years, which is relatively short for an online MMO. PlayStation Home had a small nucleus of very dedicated fans that were committed to archiving everything about this game, with the hopes of bringing it back someday. I decided to join their Discord server, hoping that anyone would remember what I was talking about. I explained what I remembered from the show being played in the PlayStation Theater, and asked if they remembered such a thing. They remembered the other shows such as The Tester, but not the one I was looking for. I was completely baffled. If anyone had known about it, it would surely be these guys. They were archiving the whole thing. But I didn't give up there. Under the videos I found of PlayStation Home on YouTube, I scrolled through dozens and dozens of videos and comments in the hopes that someone remembered. Surely enough, I came across a conversation between two people who were talking about the different shows that the theater showed. I decided to comment on their thread, asking if they knew anything about the show I was talking about. Yo, I remember watching shows here. I swear there was one that had really low production quality of a kid and his PS3. It looked like it was a YouTube video, but it was a web show with episodes. I wish I knew the name of it. Do any of you remember it? I mean it when I said that was literally all I remembered about it. I had slim hopes, but at this point I exacerbated all other options. After sending that, all I had to do was wait for a response. And sure enough, they remembered. The show that I was thinking of was called Platinum D, and was shown in PlayStation Home Theater just as I remembered. It featured two teenagers having a game contest about who could get more platinum trophies. It was one of the supposedly many episodic shows that were shown in the PlayStation Home Theater. So, I immediately looked it up with the slim hopes that there would be some videos on it on YouTube. The only thing I found was a trailer for the show that was uploaded over a decade ago. The trailer was uploaded by Platinum D Show with no other episodes. and no other information about the whereabouts of the episodes. I hadn't found the show yet, but at least I know I'm not crazy. It was real. After watching the trailer multiple times, I had come to the conclusion that this is for sure what I remember. The acting was terrible, the jokes were awful, showing me that this was absolutely a fan-made production that somehow ended up in the official PlayStation game. But the search was far from over. Now that I know for sure that this show exists, I must find a way to watch the episodes. This was also quite the challenge. Finding this show is no easy task. It has a really stupid name. Looking up Platinum D on Google gets you nowhere, and the trailer is really the only thing you can find on YouTube. Typing in other key phrases like Platinum D PS3 would get videos of people platinuming their PS3 games. After a few minutes of searching other key phrases, I realized that Platinum D PlayStation Home Theater would get me a home-recorded video from 2013 of someone watching one of the episodes inside of the PlayStation Theater. I made sure to comment on that video in case anybody would get back to me about it. This footage in particular was very interesting because it felt so familiar to me. I for sure had seen this episode. Also, this was really the only footage of the show on YouTube. I couldn't find anything else. Even though I had the name of the show, I still couldn't find any actual episodes. Now that I had the name though, I went back to the Discord to see if they had any archives of the show.
Genius.
They had a promotional banner from the game, but nothing more than that. I would have to keep looking. Under the trailer, there was a defunct website, platinumd.com. I decided to put it into the Wayback Machine and was met with this. A weird and mostly broken website that had text in Russian. Even though it doesn't look like it, this was the actual Platinum D website. There were links to the cast, contact, and even episodes that were hosted on the... That would be too easy, wouldn't it? Of course, they never uploaded the episodes, but the cast and contact section worked fully. I wasn't even going to attempt to contact them through this decade-old email, so I instead decided to try and contact one of the cast members. Surely, if they remembered this show, they would maybe be able to put me in the right direction. I sent Brandon Winfrey, who was the main character of the show, a DM on Twitter, waiting anxiously for his reply. However, this was a long time ago, and after getting no reply and not caring for a few months, I deleted my Twitter. I didn't expect him to reply or even care about what I was looking for. At all ends, I posted on the PlayStation Home Reddit in the hopes that someone would help me, or at least share my pain. And for a long time, this was it. I didn't really have any other leads, and I was convinced that I may never see Platinum D in its fullest ever again. Or at least an episode. But then, by some stroke of luck, Ember Maker, also known as School of Ember, replied to my Reddit post saying, "I have some good news for you." I was so excited. I am in the process of bringing the series on my Instagram and at some point uploading it to YouTube in better quality. Sometime in 2012, I downloaded the series for free on the PlayStation Store, and I still have my PS3 and the series. I'm doing a journey on my TikTok, School of Ember. No way! Someone actually had this series dormant for over a decade on their PS3? It was too good to be true. I went onto his Instagram, and sure enough, the mad lad had done it. Episodes were uploaded onto his Instagram, and he had found a way to upload the actual video files to YouTube. There were 10 episodes of this series. The first 3 episodes and the last 4 episodes were directly ripped onto YouTube. But for whatever reason, episodes 4 through 6 were slightly corrupted and wouldn't post onto YouTube. So, we have to settle for a phone recording of the episodes onto his Instagram. No harm though, I'm just glad I get to see it. Ember posted his whole journey on TikTok explaining the whole thing. This was glorious. I'm finally able to watch this show. A show that was lost for years and stuck in the depths of my memory. Well, let's take a look. After watching the whole thing, I have to say, it was glorious. Just kidding, it sucked. The acting is terrible, the references feel forced, and it's just overall really cringy. But if I had come across this on YouTube in 2011, I would have totally loved it. It fits right in with the early 2010s humor, and reminds me a lot of Smosh actually. It's hard to deny that there's some charm with these really low budget web shows. Watching this, I can't help but think of the episodic stuff I made when I was just out of high school. It feels the exact same in terms of its writing and characters. It's really charming in that way. Now that I've seen it, I wondered, how did this end up on PlayStation Home? It's very fan-made. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think it's really cool that something like this ended up in a legit PlayStation game, but I just wonder how it got there. Maybe PlayStation had a web show contest and the very best one was shown in the game? Or PlayStation asked a group of college kids to produce this for the home theater? Either way, this was a long journey, believe it or not. The whole thing started at the beginning of this year. I didn't quite get around to making this video because it was such a long video to make. I wanted to make it as engaging as possible, even for people who don't know much about this game or the show that I was discussing. I hope it was still an entertaining and interesting story, and I hope you enjoyed. I will have Ember's channel and TikTok in the description of this video. Thank you, Ember, for finding and uploading these videos. It means the world to me that I was able to watch them again and relive a piece of my childhood that I thought was gone forever. And thank you for watching. Oh, Richard cameo. What's wrong, Richard? Oh, sorry.
I got a lot of empty cans on my floor. I got a lot of dirty clothes in my drawer.